Because in a world that never stops moving, the greatest battle you will ever fight is the battle against the pull of the past and the fear of the future. These two thieves are silent, but they are dangerous. They steal your energy, your clarity, and the life that is unfolding right in front of you. When you carry the weight of yesterday, your steps become heavy. When you chase the shadows of tomorrow, your breath becomes restless. But the present moment, this breath, this heartbeat, is pure, untouched, powerful. It is the only place where change can happen, where strength can grow, and where your true self can awaken. Many people spend years trapped between regret and anticipation, wondering why peace never arrives. But peace is not something you find. Peace is something you create by returning your mind to where your body already is. Observe your thoughts. See how quickly they run away back to old wounds, forward to imagined worries. Train them, guide them, because the untrained mind is like a wild animal, loud, reactive, and afraid. But a trained mind becomes a weapon of clarity, silent, steady, unshakable. Every challenge you face is a doorway, and every moment is an invitation to step through it. Strength does not come from avoiding difficulty, it comes from meeting it with an awake mind. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. A disciplined mind moves with purpose, not panic. A disciplined person lives consciously, not mechanically. You don't need a guaranteed future. You need only one thing. A decision made right now to stop giving your life away to moments that no longer exist. Call to action. Today make a promise to yourself. Stop living in the stories of yesterday. Stop fearing the chapters that haven't been written. Breathe into this moment. Stand tall in this second. Act with intention. From this day forward, let your life be built from presence, not from panic. Step into your life now, fully, courageously, consciously. The moment is here. Take it. When you look closely at how the mind operates, you begin to notice a pattern. It is constantly being pulled backward into memories, old emotions, and unresolved stories. This is the first major obstacle that steals your ability to live fully. The past becomes a weight, not because of what happened, but because of how tightly you continue to hold it. Many people walk through life carrying burdens that were meant to be set down long ago. They replay mistakes repeatedly, as if reliving them might somehow undo them. They revisit old conflicts, failed relationships, or painful moments, believing that constant reflection will lead to clarity, but often it does the opposite. Instead of clarity, it creates confusion. Instead of growth, it creates stagnation. Instead of learning, it reinforces emotional chains. The mind left untrained clings to the familiar, even when the familiar is painful. This is why the past feels so powerful, not because it still exists, but because you give it new if each time you revisit it. Imagine trying to walk forward while your hands are tied to a heavy stone behind you. Every step requires more effort than it should. You lose energy not because the future is difficult, but because you are dragging something that no longer serves your path. This is what happens when unresolved memories dominate your inner world. They drain your mental strength. They shape your self-image in ways that limit your potential. They whisper lies that you will repeat old mistakes, that you are defined by your former failures, that change is impossible. And yet, if you observe carefully, the past has no physical form. You cannot touch it, you cannot change it, and you cannot return to it. It exists only as electrical impulses in the brain, stories, images, emotions. When you see this clearly, you begin to understand that the power of the past is not inherent, it is borrowed from you. The more attention you give it, the more alive it becomes. The less attention you give it, the more it dissolves. Letting go does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending nothing happened. It means learning what needs to be learned, taking what is useful, and releasing the rest. Growth requires space, and space is created when you stop feeding energy to memories that no longer contribute to your path. If you continuously look behind you, you miss the opportunities standing right in front of you. If your eyes stay fixed on old wounds, you cannot see the possibilities trying to enter your life. The past can only control you if you allow it to sit in the present with you. To move forward, you must confront the stories you keep repeating and ask yourself whether they still serve who you are becoming. The chains that hold you are not forged from events but from attachment, and the moment you loosen that attachment, the past loses its authority over your life. If the past weighs you down with memories, the future pulls you forward with expectations, anxieties, and imagined scenarios that have not yet happened. This is the second force that steals your ability to live fully, the mental habit of projecting yourself into moments that do not yet exist. Many people believe that worrying about the future prepares them for it, that imagining the worst will somehow protect them, but fear disguised as preparation often becomes a prison. Instead of gaining clarity, the mind becomes tangled in possibilities, drifting between hope and fear. never landing firmly in reality. The future becomes a landscape filled with shadows, problems that are not real, outcomes not yet determined, threats that may never arrive. This constant anticipation creates restlessness. The body may be still, but the mind is racing. You may find yourself thinking not about what is in your hands today, but about what might happen tomorrow, next week, or next year. The imagination becomes a double-edged sword. It has the power to create visions of potential, but when unchecked, it builds storms that drain your strength before you ever take a step. This is why so many people feel exhausted even when nothing has happened yet. They are not tired from work, they are tired from worrying. They are not overwhelmed by reality, they are overwhelmed by possibilities. The mind, reaching forward again and again, stretches itself thin. When you constantly live in the future, you live in a place without form. You cannot touch what has not yet come. You cannot control what has not yet unfolded, but you spend energy as if you could. This imbalance creates anxiety, the feeling of running towards something vague, something unclear, something that you cannot even name. The future becomes a thief not because it is dangerous, but because your imagination runs ahead of you, carrying your energy with it. Every moment spent obsessing over what might happen is a moment stolen from what is happening. This does not mean you should never plan or prepare. It means that planning must be rooted in presence, not fear. Preparation should arise from clarity, not panic. When you focus too much on outcomes, you disconnect from the actions required in the present moment. You begin to chase results instead of mastering the steps. And when your attention is divided between now and later, your actions lose power. A mind scattered between timelines cannot act with precision. It cannot make strong decisions. It cannot find peace. The future is not the enemy. The problem is the mind's habit of running ahead without guidance. Just as a wild horse needs a rider, the future-focused mind needs direction. Without awareness, it bolts into imagined catastrophes or unrealistic expectations. With awareness, it can visualize goals, set intentions, and create a path grounded in reality rather than fear. True foresight comes from stillness, not from panic. When you anchor your thoughts in this moment, you can look toward the future with stability instead of trembling. The future no longer becomes a storm, it becomes a horizon. The present moment is often spoken about but rarely understood. It is simple, yet many struggle to live in it because the mind has been conditioned to wander, either backward into memories or forward into possibilities. But the present is the only place where life is actually happening, where you can make choices, where you can breathe, act, learn, and transform. It is the doorway to awareness, and awareness is the foundation of strength. To live in the present is not merely to exist, it is to participate fully in what your life is offering right now. This requires training because the mind does not naturally stay still. It jumps, it searches, it compares, but when you learn to bring your attention back again and again, you begin to realize how much power is contained in a single moment when you are fully awake to it. Most people underestimate the value of presence because they are always waiting for the time to begin living with purpose. They believe that after certain conditions are met, after they are more confident, more accomplished, more prepared, then life will truly begin. But that mindset pushes life further away because the conditions you imagine in the future can only be built by the actions you take today. The present moment is not an obstacle you must move through to reach your goals. It is the vehicle that carries you toward them. Without presence, even effort becomes diluted. You might work hard, but your mind is elsewhere, so the quality of that work suffers. You might speak to someone, but your thoughts are scattered, so the depth of connection is lost. You might practice a skill, but your attention drifts, so improvement slows. Presence sharpens everything you do. It turns simple actions into powerful ones. Being fully here requires awareness of your thoughts, your breathing, your physical sensations, and your emotional responses. Awareness does not mean forcing silence or suppressing thoughts. It means observing what arises without being controlled by it. When you watch your thoughts without attaching to them, they lose their ability to drag you into the past or push you into the future. You begin to experience a space between stimulus and response where clarity lives. In that space, you can choose your actions consciously instead of reacting mechanically. This is where inner strength grows. This is where discipline is born. Is where you gain mastery over your mind instead of being ruled by it. Presence also reveals details you usually overlook. The texture of the air as you breathe, the subtle tension in your shoulders, the emotions that pass before you label them, the opportunities that appear in ordinary moments. Life becomes richer, not because the external world changes, but because you are finally paying attention. You become more grounded, more stable, more capable of meeting challenges without collapsing. into fear or regret. When distractions fade, your energy gathers. When your energy gathers, your actions become intentional. And when your actions are intentional, your life begins to align with who you truly are. Discipline is often misunderstood as something restrictive, something that limits freedom or imposes unnecessary rules on your life. But true discipline is the opposite. It is the art of creating structure so your potential can unfold without being scattered in 1,000 directions. Without discipline, the mind becomes chaotic. It reacts to every impulse, every desire, every distraction. It jumps from thought to thought, emotion to emotion, without stability. But with discipline, you develop the ability to guide your mind instead of being dragged by it. Discipline becomes a silent strength that supports you every moment, even when no one is watching. It shapes your character, not through force but through consistency. To cultivate discipline is to take responsibility for the stillness within. Also reveals something deeper, a sense of self that is not dependent on roles, achievements, or opinions. It is the part of you that has remained constant through every stage of your life. When you connect with this, you stop trying to prove your worth. You stop seeking validation in external places. You feel a quiet confidence that does not need to be displayed because it does not depend on comparison or recognition. It simply exists, steady and unshakable. Over time, this silent awareness with you. It does not remove you from life. It allows you to engage with life more fully because you are no longer controlled by the noise around you. You are anchored, present, and open, resting in the quiet space that has always been waiting beneath the surface. Discipline is often misunderstood as strictness, punishment, or self-denial, but in truth it is an act of profound self-respect. It is the decision to stay connected to your purpose even when comfort tries to pull you away. When you practice discipline, you are not restricting your freedom, you are protecting it. You are choosing not to abandon yourself in the moments when distractions, fears, or impulses attempt to lead you back into old patterns. Discipline is the bridge between who you are now and who you know you can become. Each small act of consistency becomes a statement. I am here, I am present, I am committed. Waking up at the same time each morning, training even when every breath you take is not just a biological process, it is a choice. Every moment you allow your mind to drift, every hesitation before a step, every second you spend doubting your own power is a choice too. Life is composed not only of the monumental decisions we often glorify, but of countless tiny, almost imperceptible decisions we make every day. Decisions about where to place our attention, how to respond to challenges, which thoughts to nurture and which to let fade. These seemingly small choices accumulate, building a path either toward inertia or toward transformation. Yet most people overlook this truth. They wait for some grand moment, some magical turning point, as if life's momentum depends on an external event rather than the cumulative force of their own intentions. Every thought is a choice. Thoughts are not passive. They are the architects of our reality, the unseen sculptors shaping the contours of our perception and the trajectory of our actions. To dwell in fear, to ruminate on uncertainty, to obsess over hypothetical failures, is to consciously hand over your power to forces outside your control. To think with clarity, courage, and purpose is to plant seeds that will bear fruit in every corner of your life. Each thought carries weight. Each mental image you entertain has the potential to either energize or drain you, to build or destroy, to inspire or paralyze. And yet so many people surrender this sacred power unconsciously, allowing habit, a bit-driven emotion, or social expectation to dictate the landscape of their mind. Every action, no matter how small, shapes the direction of your destiny. Life is not something that simply happens to you. It is a living, breathing creation, sculpted by your deeds, your consistency, and your willingness to engage with the present moment fully. A single action, taken with intention and commitment, can ripple outward in ways that defy calculation. Conversely, inaction, procrastination, or avoidance can erode the foundation of even the most carefully imagined future. The path of life is not determined by luck, circumstance, or the whims of others. It is determined by your willingness to act in alignment with your values and vision, to move decisively even when uncertainty looms. Each step forward is a declaration of sovereignty over your own existence, a statement that you refuse to be a passive observer in your own story. To recognize this is to awaken to a profound responsibility, the responsibility to be present, to be deliberate, and to honor each moment as an opportunity for creation. Your destiny is not a distant horizon, it is woven from the choices you make today, right now. Your life is not defined by idle thoughts or deferred dreams, it is defined by the actions you commit to the present, the intentions you nurture, and the courage you summon when it matters most. Every breath, every thought, every movement is a chance to affirm your agency, to reclaim the power that is always yours but so often surrendered to distraction, fear, or complacency. Every moment you allow the past and the future to dominate your mind, you surrender life itself. It is astonishing how easily we give away the only thing we truly possess, the present. We act as though life exists somewhere else, somewhere over the horizon, in some future victory, some moment yet to come, or in the shadows of mistakes already made. And in doing so, we let the richness, the vibrancy, the urgency of now slip through our fingers. Each second spent dwelling on what was or worrying about what will be is a second that cannot be reclaimed, a moment of your own life handed away without thought. Yet this is not merely a loss of time, it is a slow erosion of the energy, focus, and intention required to truly live. The present is not a rehearsal, it is the stage, and yet too often we fail to step onto it fully, distracted by echoes and illusions. The past whispers its lies. With a voice we know intimately, it tells us we are not enough, that our mistakes define us, that our failures are permanent, and the future, equally seductive, lures us with fear and hope alike. What if we fail tomorrow? What if we are not ready? What if opportunity passes by before we can seize it? In this dual captivity, the present moment becomes a ghost town, a place we inhabit but never explore, a space teeming with potential that remains untapped. Every second surrendered to these illusions is a theft from your own existence. Your vitality, your clarity, your courage, all begin to fade under the weight of this invisible robbery. The realization is both liberating and urgent. The only time that is real, the only time where power can be exercised is now. You cannot act in the past, you cannot act in the future, you can only act in this moment, and each action, however small, is an assertion of your freedom. To recognize this is to reclaim life from the subtle hands that would steal it. When you grasp the present, when you anchor yourself fully in the breath, the thought, the movement before you, a profound transformation occurs. The energy previously trapped in regret and fear is released. The mind sharpens, the heart opens, decisions become clearer, choices more aligned with purpose rather than habit. And yet embracing the present requires courage. It requires a willingness to face the discomfort of uncertainty, to step into the unknown without the arch of past patterns or imagined futures. It demands vigilance, for the mind is clever. It constantly seeks to pull you back into old stories or forward into imagined outcomes. The moment you succeed in returning to now even briefly, you begin to see how fleeting and powerful each heartbeat truly is. You begin to understand that life is not an accumulation of years or plans, but of these infinitely precious, irreplaceable instants. And in this understanding lies an invitation to awaken, lully to resist the theft, and to inhabit your existence with clarity, intensity, and uncompromising presence.